Do you know that some adjectives focus on individual members of a group rather than the group as a whole? These are called distributive adjectives. The focus is on the individual members of a group rather than the group as a whole. Right. Distributive adjectives refer to individual items or persons in the group, emphasizing them separately. The most common distributive adjectives are 1. Each. Each refers to every individual in a group separately. Now, example. Each student must submit their homework. Right? Their homework, even though we have the pronoun here, their, but we are talking about the individual members, right, of the class, as in each student, right? The their there is just a figure of speech, right? It's just the grammar, right? Now, the second one is every. This refers to all members of a group collectively, right? Example, every house in this neighborhood has a garden, right? So all the houses in the neighborhood, by this time we are talking about each of them, each one of the houses, each. Now, the third one is either. Some will call it as either, right? Now, this refers to one out of two choices. So we are talking about only one out of the two choices. So the total here, or the totality is two. And now we are referring to one of them. Example, you can sit on either chair, meaning you can't sit on the two chairs, but you can choose on either of them, right? Either A or B or one or two, but not the two. The third one, right, is neither. So once again, some may call it neither, right? Means that not one and not the other, right? Not one and not the other, meaning none of them. That is none of them. Example, neither option seems good to me. Don't worry, we'll explain them further with more examples. Now, the next one though is any. Now, this refers to one or more members of a group without being specific. So, some of them, right? We are talking about some of them, more than one. Or more. But meaning we have more. So, we are not talking about the entire number, but some of them, right? Now, example, you can take any book from the shelf, right? Any book from the shelf. Sometimes you can even pluralize it. Any books from the shelf. So it means that we may have 10 books, but you can actually take 9 of them, but not all of them, right? So that is it. Now, let's see some key rules for distributive adjectives. The first one is they are always followed by singular nouns. Singular nouns. We have wrong statement and correct statement. Right, here, this example actually can be subtle for a beginner, but don't worry, listen to this. As we progress, we will explain further. Now, the first one is each student must submit their homework. We are talking about one, so how come we are saying each student, right? Now, the second one, which is the correct statement, is that each student must submit their homework, right? The second one is every. How is every used, right? Every is never used with negative sentences. The first one, which is the wrong statement, every student didn't pass the test. Meanwhile, we are saying that every is never used with negative sentences. Now, hold on with that thought, when it comes to this statement that we made, is not absolute, right? But there are exceptions there when it comes to the explanation, right? So every student didn't pass the test, right? The correct statement should be not every student passed the test. So what we mean is that we have a number of students, right? A number of students, some passed and some didn't pass. And then the first one, we are talking about the fact that every is used when we are referring to some aspect of them and not all. So the first one is talking about the whole student not passing, and which is wrong, the wrong usage for every. I hope you understand. So now let me take the third one, which is the last one, right? Either and neither, right? And they are used, right, only when referring to two items or people, right? We are talking about two. So the action to be taken is between two people or two items, and no more than that, right? Right. Let's test your understanding of the whole thing. If you still find it subtle or some kind of nuances here and there in the comment section, let me know. So the first example will be dash of the two dresses looks good on me. As to the second one, I checked dash room, but I couldn't find my phone. Right. The third one, dash of the players was given a medal. 4. You can pick dash book from the shelf. So that is it. So what I wanted to address earlier with the every is that it looks kind of subtle, difficult to grasp, right? So let's see how you can make things simpler. So every is usually not used in direct negative statements. Why? Because it suggests total inclusion or total inclusion, right? Instead, we rephrase to maintain its meaning correctly. So sometimes, unless you are a native speaker, you can actually speak or say these things with ease, or yes, with simplicity, without any stress, without any difficulty in your speech. But for the non-native speakers, when we speak it this way, it can quite be what misunderstood or misconstrued, right? Why? Because when it comes to the non-native speakers, right, sometimes we speak, right, whatever we say is quite different from what we mean, right? Take this thing carefully. We speak, we say one thing, and what we mean is actually different from that. But sometimes we just have to accept it because our focus is on what you mean and not what you said. Why? Because the language is not your first language. So sometimes that is it. So when you go to court and then you have problem with this kind of speeches, sometimes you will lose. Why? Because what you said is different from what you wrote, right? In typing and in writing, it happens a lot for the non-native speakers, right? So that was just by the way. So this wraps up on distributive adjectives. Let me know if you need any explanation with any part of the presentation. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one. LEXI-AURA, speak right.